Okay. JC, can you hear us? Oh, JC, we can't hear you. I don't know if that's an issue on my end or yours.
I'm going to log out and back in.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Am I activated?
I can hear you. Yes.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent.
How are you?
I'm well, JC Neri. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I love the names that you've changed too. That's awesome.
Well, he's El Presidente, which means I can only be the second, which is El Segundo.
Oh, that makes sense. Destiny, it's nice to meet you. I think I've maybe only had an audio call with you, so it's nice to see face and names. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You have to turn your microphone on. Can we hear you now?
I've got one. You guys hear me? There, I'm on. I can hear myself.
I can hear you.
Audio's good.
How do we mute Counselor Neri? Is that possible? Are we allowed to do that?
Audrey can.
Good. Make it so.
Perfect. Thank you. It is 4:30 on February 25th, and I call this meeting in the Meridian Historic Preservation Commission order. Roll call. Blaine Johnston's here. Commissioner Everts.
Here.
Commissioner Neri.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Lusigan is not here. Commissioner Alt.
Here.
Commissioner Fitzgerald.
Here.
Jessica Peralt. Not here. Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Neri.
if there are no additions or corrections, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Neri, seconded by Commissioner Everts for adoption of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Approval of minutes from January 28th.
Mr. President, I,
Commissioner Hall.
Jody, I'll move that we adopt we approve the minutes of the previous meeting. I'll second.
Who was that? Destiny?
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Alt, seconded by Commissioner Hart for adoption or approval of our minutes from January 28th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Approval of our monthly financial statement.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Neri.
if there aren't any staff updates, doesn't look like we've spent much money. If there's no staff updates, then I would move to approve the financial statement.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Neri, seconded by Commissioner Alt for approval of our monthly financial statements. Any changes, Audrey? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go on to new business. Item 3 is determine use for the old McFadden sign. Lieutenant Leslie, are you there? You can talk to us.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you.
So the police department is in the process of building what we call a scenario village, which is a training facility for the police and fire department. And it really looks like a mock city street, if that makes sense. And so we've recently acquired the 127 Club, the bar that was 127 East Idaho, just next door to the old police station at 201 East Idaho. And so one of the props, if you will, for our training center is going to be a bar, and it's going to be the 127 Club. So it was brought to my attention that the city had in possession of an old McFadden sign from the grocery store that located over there at Broadway and 2nd Street. So our thought process was we have a small store prop for training officers and fire personnel inside our facility. And perhaps there was the option of putting up a McFadden grocery store sign and naming the grocery store the McFadden grocery store. So that's why I'm here to have that discussion with you folks, is to see what your plans are for that sign, and maybe we could restore that sign and label it inside our scenario village. And as we move forward, training police and fire personnel, bring a little bit of Meridian history into the training segment.
At the present time, we don't have any plans for that sign. I know that we were able to save it when the building was demoed. And right now it's just in storage, and I'm sure you've probably taken a look at it. If you guys go to your packet that Audrey sent out, there's some pictures of that market sign in that packet. It's about 10 foot tall, so it's a pretty good sized sign, but it is in disrepair. Lieutenant Leslie, have you gotten prices to restore the sign? I've got a friend that works at electric sign company. I was going to reach out to him and have him take a look at it and at least give us a quote to see what it costs to at least repaint it. I don't know if you want it lit and everything, or what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, so we really haven't went that far into it until we figured out whether or not we would have the opportunity to use it. But we definitely would be interested in, and I think we have the budget for restoring it and lighting it like it was originally, and then hanging it above our mock store, if you will.
So this will actually go inside the building, correct?
It will. So inside our building, we have about a 12,000 square foot building. And on one side of the building, we have a couple residents. In the middle of it is a store, a convenience store / grocery store looking prop. And so this sign, if we get the use of it, would be inside, but it would be on a city street, if you will, with a couple of little street lights.
Mr. President,
Yes.
so just to give some more context to the commission. So as the president said, when the when the store was being demolished, because the building was in such a state of disrepair that they were required to tear it down. It was just happenstance that the city asked them if we could have it, and they said, yeah, if you want to just haul it away, you can have it. So that was probably, and JC might remember, but this is probably at least 5 years ago, and maybe longer.
Yeah, I think it was probably 2015.
Yeah, so it's literally been sitting in storage at the Parks Department ever since. I talked with the Director Sidaway a couple of years ago, and they store a lot of things until they get tired of tripping over it, and then they want to figure out what to do with it. And so what Director Sidaway was concerned was, because it's large, first restoring it, right? The city has no budget to do that. So whether or not the Arts Commission would be interested in helping do that. The Arts Commission has in the past been reluctant to use signs as a art piece unless it really is part of a larger piece, because they didn't consider city signage to be art in and of itself. So it was large. It was, going to require some cost to restore it. It was going to have some cost to install it somewhere. And because it says, I think it says Meridian Market. I know it says Market. I was thinking at the top it says, because it was Meridian Market was the name of the store. And putting it on a city building randomly would also seem a little odd, and it wouldn't match anything. So they were kind of stumped what to use it. So when the police department, one of the lieutenants asked me about the sign, I think it was Lieutenant Leslie, it seemed like, at least from my personal perspective, it seemed like a good opportunity to actually let people see it. Because right now it's probably just kind of withering in storage. And so it would be nice to at least have it restored and visible. And if it's going to be inside a building, it'll probably last a little bit longer. And they have the budget for the police scenario village to be able to do all of that. At least we get seen.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt.
I move that we allow the police department to restore and use the McFadden sign in their training facility.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Neri.
I would second that motion with just one amendment, being that in the instance the police department decided not to use it in the future, or this training facility were to close, that they would then return the sign back to the commission.
I think that would be a great suggestion. Lieutenant Leslie, would the police department have any objection to that, do you think?
Absolutely not. We would be more than happy to give it back if we didn't use it or close the facility.
Okay. What is your time frame? Do you know right offhand?
Yeah, so our facility should be done around July, end of July, first week of August. So
Okay.
we hope to have the sign up and in place by then.
I will reach out to my friend at the sign company, meet with him, and see if I can't get a quote for you guys.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
When I get that, I will just forward that on to Audrey and she can get that to you guys.
I appreciate that.
Okay. We can do that. So we have a motion by Commissioner Alt, seconded by Commissioner Neri, to allow the Meridian Police Department to use the old McFadden sign with the provision that if the police department ever closes that facility down, the sign would be returned to HPC for our use. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I think that's a great suggestion for repurposing that sign. Even after it's up and lit up in your facility, we can post that for repurposing something of Meridian's history. So great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any further discussion that we need with Lieutenant Leslie?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Neri.
thank you, Lieutenant Leslie, for bringing the idea forward. I think my only thought would be, if you have ability after that is finished, if we could just get some photos of it so we can put them on our website, that would be awesome. If that doesn't obviously put the training facility at risk to have photos published. It'd be cool.
No, absolutely, JC. We can give you whatever photos you need.
Thank
No
you.
problem at all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, we will go on to item number 4, discuss projects for the CLG grant award. You guys may or may not be aware of it, but SHPO awarded the city $5,000 in a grant for use this year for identification of historic properties. The first one that comes to my mind, because it was on our list, is to have a survey done of the Zamzels building, the mill. Since that was really our second item on the list to have listed on the National Registry. But I'm open for other suggestions if anybody has anything.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Airy.
no alternative suggestions, just I think that would be an awesome way to use that. And my only thought would be if we would contract with TAG to also do that work. But I think it's fantastic. That's an awesome facility and would be great use of that money.
I think that we would probably just go with TAG since we already have a contract with them. They know our procedures, what we want, what we're looking for, and they know SHPO, what's required to have that intensive survey done. So, Audrey, I guess at this point, if you want to reach out to TAG and say we're interested in the survey of the mill.
Mr. President, first, so our grant that we were awarded isn't specified to a specific project because our original application was meant for the continuation of the Speedway project. But SHPO responded that they aren't going to give us a grant, at least this year, for the Speedway project. They needed a little bit more information. So step 1 would be to go back to SHPO, specify this as a project, and then we need their approval
Okay.
on this project. And if they give us approval to move forward with this project with the grant, then we can approach TAG.
Okay, then let's do that. Let's reach out to SHPO, say we are interested in having the Zamzels mill listed, and we'd like to start the process for that survey. See if
Perfect.
they approve that.
Mr. President, additionally, we were awarded $5,000 and an intensive survey. The intensive survey for the Speedway cost $2,800. So we would have about, guessing, $2,100 to $2,200 left in grant money. I can ask SHPO if we can use it for more than one project if the commission has more than one project in mind.
I know that there are other building sites. I know that the Masonic Hall was listed as a potential. I don't know if that's a possibility or not,
We can ask.
but that would be my second choice is to see what the Masonic Lodge would be if it's eligible for listing or not. So that would be my only other option to use the rest of that money for that one.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Airy.
I apologize. I'm just for my clarification. The $5,000 we are talking about, it was originally, we applied for the grant using the Speedway as the first priority with the mill as like a secondary. I'm wondering if between those two, if that wouldn't use all of the funds. Does that make sense? Just, I know that was poorly worded, but.
Yeah. So, Mr. President, I can provide a summary of the conversation I had. So the SHPO grant coordinator his name is Pete Larange. He called me after we submitted our application and said that after reviewing our application and the intensive survey of the Speedway, the SHPO grant committee didn't feel that they had all the information to be totally confident that the Speedway will be accepted onto the National Registry. So they just wanted a little bit more information. So basically the SHPO or the Speedway intensive survey was considered incomplete. And so we weren't ready to move forward into phase 2. So they didn't feel they could give us grant funds for that, but they still wanted to give us grant funds. And he suggested that we look at other projects for a grant. So right now the grant project is vague, and they just requested that we come back to them with a more specified project or projects in mind.
Mr. President,
Yes.
President, Audrey, do we have the ability to use some of that money to obtain the additional information that SHPO wanted so that we are more competitive for a phase 2 grant on the Speedway next time? Or do we have a specific list of information that they wanted, they were looking for, that they didn't get, so that we kind of know what we need to gather in order to make that competitive?
SHPO has actually been coordinating directly with TAG to get the last pieces of information.
Okay.
I haven't asked TAG if that would be additional cost to us, but certainly if it is an additional cost to us, I can ask if this grant would apply to those that invoice.
I think we should make every effort to pay TAG for that extra work if that is extra work on their part. So I'd be in favor of asking if we can use some of that money to pay for that extra work.
Yeah, let's do that. Then let's see if we can use a portion of that money for any additional resources that TAG requires to complete the application process for phase 2, start the intensive survey on the mill, and if we have anything left over, then we can do the Masonic Lodge. Does that make sense? Do we have possibly 3 sites, finish the Speedway and start the process on the mill and Masonic Lodge? Audrey's making notes.
Yes, Mr. President, I wrote all that down. That sounds doable to me. I'll approach I'll approach SHPO with our ideas and see what they think.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Everts.
Just one more item. So we've been getting a lot of response from Jim Zamzo's daughter, Callie, and we've been sending some requests for drawings, photographs, stuff like that. She's been a good friend a long time, good friend of the city. So I know we had an engagement strategy when we did the Speedway. Are we going to have a similar sort of, I think Callie's the great touch point there. Obviously runs a lot of things for her father. Is that the plan?
Yeah, we'll have to reach out and get their.
And they'll be
appro-
super.
Yeah, get their approval for the work before the survey starts.
Yeah, no, they're very proud of it,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Callie will be all on board and provide
Okay.
any kind of support. So
Perfect. Any further discussion on our CLG grant? We will have a report next month on what we find out from SHPO and TAG for those.
Yes.
Okay. Item 5 is explore scavenger hunt format for May Preservation Month. Commissioner Neri, did you find out anything?
Yes, Mr. President, I probably have more information than you wanted. But I went ahead and put something together. I'm gonna share my screen and see if I can't. Maybe. Stand by. I can't do it like this. Okay, so for reference, all of this is stored out on our Google Drive. So I'm going to do a real quick overview of what I put together, but we don't have to make a decision on this necessarily today. So if you want to go, independently and take a look, and then we can come back next month, that's comfortable with me. But what I did, is everybody seeing that? Are you seeing the Google
Yes,
Drive?
we can see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, amazing. That feels like a win. Okay, so what I did is I put together a content calendar for that scavenger hunt that basically has a week build up to an event that would take place virtually on May 12th. So I went ahead and created teaser posts that could be entered in advance. My thought behind this was to minimize staff time as much as possible, knowing that Audrey or Shandy would likely have to create this. And I was hoping if we could use Hootsuite or something like that, it wouldn't be cumbersome on their side. So it's just a week of teaser postings leading up to an event actually taking place on May the 12th, beginning at 10 a.m., running through 2 p.m. every 30 minutes with a new historic photo asking some sort of trivia question. We would look for engagement, essentially every comment. I'm asking that they comment and then share the post, right? So we can hopefully increase engagement. But every comment, we would enter them in for a drawing. I'm happy to manage that, so it doesn't take up Audrey's entire day on May the 12th. But I'll take a look at that. And then ultimately we would pull a grand prize winner and 2 second place winners. I'm proposing distributing one of our challenge coins to each of the 3. And then for the grand prize winner, I thought I would donate a gift card to a downtown Meridian restaurant. So I put a content calendar together, and you can go out and look at that. And then I did create each individual post that would go out. So I've got the little teaser posts. Here, let's see, where's teaser 1? So I went ahead, I still need to put the logo on, and admittedly, I didn't get that done, but I went with the city colors. I used the photos directly from our Dropbox. No other proprietary information, so we should be good on sharing that. Leading up to it, the morning of the event, created a full infographic of the rules for anybody who's following. And then the postings, they're all scheduled by the time that they would go live. And it just asks different things like, what's the year of this photo, or what building currently sits at this site, those types of things. And then one for the contest being closed at the end of it, and then one to announce the winner. So that's kind of what I did. I know we're limited on time, so I don't want to run through each of these knowing that you have access to them, but that was my overall thought process on this, expecting that it would run just that one day. That can be modified in the instance life is different and we're not smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. This is easily convertible to an in-person style event that we could hold like on a Thursday evening, like we've done in the past.
Okay.
So it should be easy to modify, but that's what's out there right now. Feel free to take a look, and I'm open-minded for suggestions and feedback. And I also want to be respectful to Audrey of your availability. And I know that these types of things, this outreach, that you will be doing it on our behalf. So let me know any concerns that you have as well. So it's kind of overview of where I'm at, thoughts, feelings, questions.
You did a lot of work.
Yeah. I knew I would have more time now than I would then, so I just put it together.
I think it's great. I think it looks good. I think it's very doable like you did. And like I said, if we can do it in person, then we can swap it to an in-person hunt and do it on a one evening.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. My only request would be for other eyes to go in and look at this and proofread. When you stare at something, you tend to auto-correct. So check my spelling and the formatting and make sure it looks the way that we want it to. And I will put our logo on it. And I'm really hoping that it increases engagement and we can look for analytics, in June. I know it's will be a little bit different, I think, at engaging through that group page versus a like a static Facebook page, but I don't think for this event that should be any kind of a hiccup, and shouldn't require a ton of staff time.
No, I think it looks good and it should run smoothly like this. So yeah, great job, JC. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Do you want to see anything else?
Mr. President and Commissioner Neri, was the plan to put this on the city-wide pages or our historic preservation group?
Yeah, I love that question. And I'm going to say whatever Shandy is comfortable with. So we can use the group, and I think it will be very easily handled on that platform. But if the city's comfortable allowing us space for those once a day posts from the 3rd up through the 11th, and then pretty heavily on the 12th, then I think that that's fine. It would, the only thing that's different about doing it on the main city page is that I, as an independent, don't have the ability to go in it and really monitor that quite like I could on the group page, only because on the group page it's just different access, but really I'm going to just be logging the comments, the people who commented, and then the shares, so that I can track it manually or I can track it using a software. Either way, it's easy on my end.
Mr. President, this looks great to me. I'm really, really grateful for Commissioner Neri and all her work. It's totally fine for me to block out my day on the 12th just so I can be available. I don't mind that at all. That is one day, but it's only one day.
Okay. I appreciate that, Audrey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a minute and look at the content calendar when you can. You'll see the time to post, the name, the caption, whatever that would be, and then the hashtags. Each day we're linking to the city, but if we wanted to expand what that looks like to maybe other partners, I'm open-minded to what all of that looks like. And then the only thing I am thinking about is the challenge coins. We should have plenty to hand out 3. I don't think we've handed out an incredible amount where we wouldn't have the 3, and then that should be it. I don't think that there's any other issues. I don't know that the city's done a contest like this, so that would be maybe a Mr. Neri question, but we should be okay in theory.
Mr. Presidente.
Commissioner Evans.
JC, it looks fantastic. Great work. 2 things. One, are you okay if I add, I did some research on hashtags for historic preservation and found like the national big drivers. Are you okay if I add those hashtags to this document?
Yes, please. Edit
Okay.
like crazy.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is, let me know. I have downtown restaurants that are approaching me all the time with gift cards and wanting to do things on behalf of the city. So just let me know how many you want, and then I'll just go get them all.
Okay, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I was just envisioning 1 because I was going to donate it, but if we can get more than that, it would be amazing if there was an overflow of engagement. So that's awesome.
No, we in fact, we had the owners of Truffles, et cetera, offer free chocolates for every resident in the new Old Town Loft project. Like, there's some really activated businesses. Sushi Shack wants to do things. So I think we've got real partners in downtown restaurants and businesses that want to give to things like this. So
Perfect.
yeah, just let me know how many you want and I'll go get them all.
That's amazing. Thoughts, Commission, on how many we'd want? I got it set up to do 1 grand prize and 2 runners up. But yeah, if we can expand that.
If we just want to start there, that's fine. I just want you, I mean, as a just a general thought, I think we've got really good business partners in downtown that see us being activated and want to be a part of that. So
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, let's get 3. And if somebody gets real generous, let me know.
Great.
Yeah.
Done. Or I'll just eat it all. Me and Truffles I'm joking. I'm sorry. This is being recorded. I would never exploit my position.
Never.
Counselor Neri.
Okay. Any further discussion on scavenger hunt? Commissioner, thank you for all your work.
Great work.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
With that, we will go on to item 6, social media update efforts. Commissioner Everett.
I believe that is me, El Segundo,
You're up.
the second. Do I have to do anything to pull that up?
I can pull it up for you.
You're a rock star. Thank you so much. City of Meridian / Audrey. Just as background, as the slides are getting pulled up, social media committee met in the interim between our last meetings, got some guidance from the city. So what we have before us tonight is sort of in the military, we call them decision briefs, but it's basically a summary of what our social media strategy is going to be as a commission. That falls in alignment with Shandy and what the city wants to do. I think it's pretty exciting, actually. I think it's a good compromise for what we want to do right now, and it starts laying out not just opportunities for the social media committee, which is JC and I, but for everybody else to contribute and play a role in this as well. So next slide. Here's what we're gonna do. When I gotta move this thing off because I can't actually see the words on the screen. HPC, we're going to provide a monthly commission Facebook post each meeting, each meeting for publication on the first Monday of each month. So the following Monday through the City of Meridian Facebook page. That post is going to be very specific about what the commission is engaged with. It could be at that time or in general. But the nature of that once a month post that the city's going to do is going to be about the commission and what we do as commissioners. It could be talking about the scavenger hunt. It could be talking about pursuits and grants, but it's going to be strictly about the commission. Additionally, we are going to have a social media committee that is going to curate images and stories for posting twice a month on the Meridian History Facebook page run by Robert Mortensen. So that group page, Robert's going to give us some credentials so that JC, myself, or any other commissioner that's interested in doing that, being able to post. We will do that as individuals, but it does give us a forum by which to go out there and make posts twice a month. I'm expecting these to be very historic in nature. This is where we're getting to the next bullet, which is us as a commission. I spend a lot of time in the archives. I know JC spends time down there. Blaine spends time down there. Commissioner Alt. But this is really an opportunity for all of us to, as we have time, I know we've got busy schedules, but if you want to get familiar with what's in there, us being able to scour the archives for materials, it even could be scouring our Dropbox or, our current library of images and those stories and getting those materials put together so that we as a committee can make those posts twice a month. We are looking at some scanning capabilities for large format media. When we had our committee meeting, one of the things we talked about were newspapers of the period. And I happened to mention, November 22nd, 1963 and the Kennedy assassination, and Audrey was reading my mind and actually had that actual newspaper there. So we were able to look through it and see the businesses that were advertising in there. So the limitation we have is scanning capabilities, being able to scan, a half a dozen pages there in a large format of a newspaper, and then being able to run those and make those things available. I just think that's such a rich treasure trove that's in our archives. Us as a commission, I think getting in there and picking out some stuff and then making that available to the public via the Meridian History Facebook page group is really good. So we also want to just as a committee encourage the rest of the commissioners to follow these Facebook pages, whether it's the city page or the Meridian History Facebook page, and participate individually as desired. Again, we're not speaking as commissioners on those pages. We're just speaking as citizens of Old Town Meridian and the city and being able to offer comment inputs, or if we see things on there that bear investigation or research on our part. I've just been fascinated to follow all the conversations of family histories and things that are going on that our community's talking about that impact our commission. So I'll kind of stop there for a second and open it up for anybody to ask any questions or make any comments. And I guess I'm that, or I should say our committee is that good.
Mr. President, one thing that I noticed on this, I think we talked about this last meeting and it was new information, but commissioners won't be able to hold admin credentials along with the city. It will just be the city and
Correct.
Robert.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On the PowerPoint I read.
Oh,
That it'll-
I apologize for.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Great.
correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we can clarify that before we make anything super official.
So when the city posts our post that first of the month, will our logo be on that post?
So what we talked about as a committee is that we are going to have we're going to have one to many, which is a database term, but one or any number after that, that we can, of images that we can post. And our intent was that the final image would always be our logo. So that when that shows up on the Facebook page, you're going to see 1, 2, 3. I think in the post that is on the next slide here, there's 3 pictures of the Speedway. And then we would add always our Preservation Commission logo. As far as the guidelines of what we do with the Meridian History Facebook page, I think we'd follow the same thing. And what we don't cover in here is the actual mechanisms. I think that's probably some work that JC and I need to do next month, is to sit down and talk about, because even in this, I put it in PowerPoint, like the 3 images, but we really need to make a more formal process for, and make it discoverable, and then do the training for all the commissioners of, because I would like everybody to participate. JC and I are kind of leading the thought leadership, but any commissioner should be able to put together, do some research and put together these posts that we might want to select from and throw up on these pages. But JC and I can work on that next month and create a formal process. And when I say JC and I mean JC. So,
Mr. President, I'm actually going to jump in because Commissioner Everts put all of this together. I want to second his comment about other commissioners getting engaged with this. I know that this is something that we've talked about for a bit. And so if you have a desire to get more involved or want to have some thoughts on how all this rolls out, we're totally open for that. So please jump in, or if you see something really awesome or you're aware of a cool piece of history that we should share, or in your other work you come across something, definitely share it with us. But make sure you know you're included and we want you to be included.
and I would add to that, do not be discouraged if you're not a technology person. Like JC and I are really, really good at that, but we're also very good at sharing. And I would love to help other people that don't feel as strongly in that to, even if you look at pictures and it's like, gosh, I don't know how to, get the best picture, or if there's other better pictures, like I'm happy to help people get better at that stuff and train people. I'm not saying anybody's not good, but if you want help, don't let technology be the prohibiting factor in you participating.
Perfect.
All right, so let's go to the third slide then. So JC and I, we got some marching orders. So this is the format of what I propose is going to be our format for our commission to review once a month. So we would have a standing item where we would review this post. So this would be our March 1 HPC post. So this is for us to talk about. We'll hold the time. We would publish this early so people could actually read it and be ready for comments when we get to our HPC meeting. In this case, I grabbed 3 photos, and I'm specifically talking about the Meridian Speedway effort. So I put a paragraph in there talking about, completing the site survey of the Meridian Speedway. I added that statement of significance that came out of the report. And then I've got the hashtags on the bottom, and these, even though, words like historical place, historic preservation are in there, those are included in there because if you go to the big libraries, the big data libraries that are tracking all this, the word historical has got 3 million people that are following that tag specifically. And historical place sits at about 600,000, and historic preservation 300,000. So we just expand our impact for people that aren't just in our valley, but worldwide, that are tracking those kinds of things and getting some visibility of these items. So the intent is we would bring a slide like this. The social media committee would. select one. And again, this is talking more about our work, even though by extension, it'll always cover something historic, but it's about the commission. And I've not spell checked any of this, so
Can I suggest 2 more hashtags?
yes.
Saving places
Okay.
and this place matters.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, I noticed that on the
Yeah.
other one. I think those are 2 good ones to
Yeah,
add.
because those are the ones that nationally hit.
Yep. And what I'll do is, JC, I'll add those 2 to this slide, and then I'll add this historical place, and historic preservation to yours.
You're awesome. This is really, really fantastic work, Josh. Thanks for putting it all together.
So can I ask the really uncomfortable question now? Because it showed up on my Instagram feed again today. So we have our Meridian History Instagram account, which we have intentionally not been posting on. But I noticed that like Meridian Arts Commission is all over there, is throwing up pictures. Are we allowed to use the Meridian History Instagram account and have a parallel effort where we're, off of Facebook and doing these great pictures on that account? I feel like we could just hammer that and it would be so well received, but I don't want to.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. And I think the Instagram page is what started this whole conversation.
It did.
And no, technically we're not.
So then they're not allowed either.
Also, we did get permission as the Arts Commission to keep using our Instagram account because it already had a following of, I don't know how.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it was already
I'm
pre-established.
going to go pick that fight because it's just gross. It's really gross that one commission. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to get frustrated, but yeah, that's
Mr.
garbage.
President.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to go ahead and jump in and just support Commissioner Everts in that. There was a significant following on the existing page. And I understand all of that subjective understanding what really significant is, but for a commission of our size with the impact that we have, it is significant. So I would agree if there was an exception made, I would really love to look into why and what training we need so that we can be successful in receiving the same exception.
Yeah, I mean, their stuff is beautiful. Like as a resident of Meridian, I love following that feed and seeing the great pictures. And frankly, with all peace and love, like nothing beats the kind of pictures that we could share and the kind of influence we could have. And Instagram's such a big part of people's life at this point. It was just kind of a kick in the nuts when, I'm sorry, recording, that like I saw that literally as I was coming over here today, and I was like, this is not acceptable. So I would love to, yeah. I'm going to have that conversation with somebody. So thank you, Commissioner Neri, for your always faithful support of my craziness.
You're absolutely not crazy. I think equity in government's important.
Yeah.
So we can plan on having this go out.
Yeah.
City.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
On Monday.
I will do my best. I'll send it to Shandy, and I don't think I can guarantee that it will be published on Monday, but as soon as we can.
Okay.
Great. And I do not know I don't know if these images were downsized when I put them into PowerPoint. So what I will do is I will go grab the originals of these and I will send you an email.
Perfect.
That's got proper size ones. I'll include, just to make it really easy and on Shandy, I'll include our logo in this as well. And then I'll change the hashtags and make sure those are in there. So you've got a clean email for her.
Perfect.
That way you don't have to extract it out of this.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Any further discussion on this? With that, we have about 15 minutes and we got to get out of here. Commissioner Hart and Commissioner Fitzgerald, do you guys have an update on student initiative?
Mr. President, we do. We met on the 17th to start discussions on the student initiative. We determined a timeline for the student initiative. We'll release the application or information on April 1st, have it due May 1st, select on May 20th, and then use our May meeting to present awards for that. We are still working on a prompt and we plan to meet early next month to determine the prompt. And we're thinking separate prompts for junior high and elementary, or junior high and high school as one prompt, and then elementary school students, another one that's simplified a little bit. And we Audrey told us that we have $150 for prizes, and we had discussed supplementing those with donated items from the community and soliciting donations for that. Last time we did this, we offered a zoo pass for the elementary winner. We offered $200 for the middle school winner, and we offered $500 for the high school winner. And it looks like this year in the budget, we only have 150 total right now for prizes. So we'll have to figure out how to make that up somewhere. And we had thought soliciting donations might be a good way to do that. And then a question that we wanted to bring to the commission is how involved, if at all, do you all want to be in the selection process? We had discussed kind of two different ideas. First one being we kind of gather some community members to either narrow down the pool if we have a large pool of applicants, or just to make a determination, or to just kind of keep it within the commission and make a decision among the commission. So we would be interested in your thoughts on that.
In the past, we've just left it up to the commission to review the submissions, and then the commissioners voted that way. We haven't had a large input from some of the students, so I guess it depends on how many submissions we get from students on the initiative. So that may determine if we want to have some outside help to narrow down the field before we make a final selection.
Okay, and we'll have plenty of time to kind of make that decision. So if we do for some reason get a huge pool of applicants, then at that point, maybe we can activate a larger group to kind of narrow those down and then let the commission make the final decision on winners. Does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good, okay. And then Brian, did I miss anything, or Audrey? We had a wide ranging discussion, so I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
We had a lot of small details, but I don't know if we need to discuss those until we've really defined down what we're doing.
Okay. And we'll make an effort to bring something more formal to next month's meeting in writing, so you can see what we're working on. So.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you for your efforts.
Yeah, thank you.
With that, we will continue discussions next month on our CLG grant scavenger hunt for Preservation Month, continue our social media efforts, and some more on student initiative. Any other things we need to talk about next month?
I don't have anything.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I move that we close this meeting and finish her off of the Historic Preservation Commission on the beautiful day of February 25th, 2021.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Everett, seconded by Commissioner Fitzgerald for adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We're out of here.
If you're
Thanks,
not out of
everybody.
10 minutes, you're going to be held hostage. So.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, everybody, for all you do. Appreciate you.